minor program in Science and Technology Policy. My name is Chi-Hyung Jeon. I'm teaching at Graduate School of Science and Technology Policy, STP Graduate School. I'll be hosting this session for this semester. So feel free to eat your lunch as the session is going on. And if you have questions, please feel free to raise your hand and question in time. Although we will have a separate Q&A session at the end of our information session. Okay. So you think you know science. That's a great title for the STP information session. We'll go through what STP is about, what it's for, what we do at STP, and what you can learn at STP. This is what we'll do. We'll have welcome remarks, and we'll talk about this: why you should do a minor in STP, why it's probably the best choice you can make in your Kaist life. And we'll go through some administrative details, what you can do or what you should do to do a minor in STP, and then we'll introduce faculty members who are here today with us. And we'll introduce the courses in this semester that's offered by STP. Okay. So let me introduce first Professor So-Young Kim, who will welcome you to the session. She is the director of the STP Minor program.
Hello, I'm So-Young Kim. I'm in charge of the undergraduate minor program of STP, and this is a very special occasion for me because this is the first time I'm speaking in this position, welcome speech, because the director, Professor Park, is on the trip, so unfortunately he's not here, so I'm actually giving a welcome speech on his behalf. And the second one, we had a plan to run this session in Korean initially, but we have a new international faculty member, so we're going to continue using English for the intro session of STP minor program. So it seems it's going to be a tradition somehow. I think this will be probably the only intro session of minor programs on campus run in English. So very briefly, today we're going to have a lot of things to cover. So I'd like you to pay attention to why we are offering this minor program on campus, especially on my graduate program that's really a special program for people choosing STP as a career. STP minor program is not specifically intended to make you become an STP scholar or a housemaker. It's just for anybody. It's not for people who made a change of mind to become, say, housemakers or choosing some other careers. So while you are doing your own major study, you may consider just stopping by our department and also making friends with STP minor students, not necessarily, even if you don't really major minor this program. And I really like you to consider, of course, this program as your minor choice, but still we are really welcoming anybody into our STP courses. That's actually all I have, and I'll just continue what I'm offering in my STP course when we have these 4 courses. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kim. Now we'll hear from Professor Moon-Jung Choi, who's also joining the Grad School of STP this fall semester. We're very excited to have her on our faculty. We'll hear more about her when we introduce our faculty, but Professor Choi will talk about why, again, it might be the best thing to do for you as a Kaist student to choose STP. Please welcome Professor Choi.
I'll start why you have to minor in STP with a small icebreaker. Okay, the semester has started and there's a classroom, and see two new faces. Okay? And now you'd like to learn more about them, right? So what do we do? How to be friends with them? Any idea? No one? You probably want to get to know who they are, right? So try to talk to them, or maybe try to get their number, or maybe start a conversation. So you put lots of energy and time to be friends with them. But I just wonder, have you ever tried to get to know yourself, who you are, why you're majoring in science and engineering? There are lots of different questions, right? But it is not just like one day you realize, oh yes, this is science and engineering, exactly what I want to do. You need to put efforts and time to get to know who you are and also yourself. And given my own experience, I felt the best way to know your identity or your, the meaning of science is to put yourself in a very different environment. So you might have lots of questions. You make a big decision after finishing your undergraduate program. You have to choose whether you go to graduate school or maybe get a job in a big company, or maybe even start your own company. But when you make a decision, you really know what you are good at, who you are, what you really want to do throughout your life. It's not just about your parents want you to be. It's more about your life. So to get to know who you are, you need to put yourself in a really new environment. And I believe that STP will help you to get to there. It's not an easy process because you have to get out of your comfort zone. For example, in your lab or to your friends, you might have lots of questions. Why should I do science? What's the meaning of to be engineer in this Korean society? But most of your friends might just think about it later, or maybe just focus on getting A. It's not a big deal, but it's a big deal because it's your life. So I feel minoring in STP is like having a 5-course real fancy meal. There are a couple of programs similar to STP in Korea, but Kaist STP is the only program covering from humanity like philosophy and history and anthropology, public policy, sociology, and social work. So I think the STP minor program is a sort of a privilege only for Kaist student. So this is the only chance that you can think about, the meaning of science and engineering in Korean society. And I think you'll be the leader in the future of Korean society. You'll be the leader of the engineering and science in Korea. But to be a good leader, you should put effort and time to be a leader in insight, in history, and also the ethics and the meaning of engineering. So I think Kaist STP will give you sort of the sunshine, so you can major yourself. And I think this is the last chance you can think about that issue. After finishing your undergraduate program, you have lots of chance to learn about business skills. There are MBA program and lots of other business programs. But you will never have a chance to think about history and the philosophy and also justice issues around engineering sciences. So I think this is the last chance for your life to learn about this.
Thank you, Professor Chad. That was even a stronger statement. This is your last chance to learn about all these things. These are the list from previous sessions. The examples of the questions that we ask in our STP courses, but also in the faculty research and graduate student research. You can learn more about that from our website. These are also kind of snapshots of our research that are conducted by graduate students, but also our faculty. Just from images, we can get a sense of what we are doing. Again, the same. some of the big questions and big projects that we've been conducting so far. Okay, now let me just go through some practical details about how to minor in STP. Probably you are well aware of these requirements, but just let me go through quickly, and then if you have more questions, you can always come to the STP administration office on the second floor of the building N4. So you need to take at least, you need to have already taken at least 33 credits to apply to the minor program. So at least 33 credits, but no more than 98 credits. So if you are kind of in between, or sophomore or junior, you are eligible to apply for STP minor. But even if you have taken more than 98 credits, you can still, there might be exceptions to these rules, so you can still come to our STP office to check if you are eligible to apply for STP minor. So if you think you want to apply but you're not sure if you're eligible, please come to our STP office. And there are two types of credits, like course credits and research credits in our minor program. The course credits are the familiar courses that you're already taking in your departments too. For the course credits, you should take 18 credits, which means 6 courses each, 3 credits each. And that includes one mandatory course, STP 230, which is Science and Technology Policy. That's required for all minor students, but the others are elective courses. And you can take up to 3 courses or 9 credits in STP, but that can count toward your, for example, humanities and social science requirements. So that's good to know. It's a good advantage to take 1 course in STP, and then they can count also toward your humanities requirement too. And there are research credits that you can get from your internship and individual research projects. And so a special type of course is the STP seminar. It's a 1 credit course. You can take this seminar, and the requirement is to attend the STP colloquia series that we have on Thursdays at 5:30 in our STP seminar room. Typically bi-weekly, there could be more, there could be less, but basically we invite various speakers who on various topics somehow related to science and technology policy, and it was a great chance to get to know what the scholars are studying right now, or what policy practitioners are doing in the field right now. So minor students are encouraged to take this seminar course and participate in our colloquial series. And there's an internship program. There's slight change in how we assign interns. Previously, we've taken applications from the students who want to go to these various institutes, but from this semester on, we'll have a special memorandum of understanding with some of these institutes out there. So there will be a list of institutions that you can do internship at. So please consult with Professor Kim or at the office when you do the internship. We'll have more announcements about the specific details about these institutions. There are research opportunities. You can do RA work for our funded project. You can become an RA and then actively participate in the projects. Or you can do the undergraduate research program, the URP program, so you can be your own principal investigator of your own topic and then advised by one of the STP faculty. That's a great venue for you to pursue your interest in STP issues. And there's also an individual research program that you get credit, but you don't get the research funding as you do in the European program. So these are the 3 ways of doing, or at least participating in some research activities in STP. This is the list of the projects that we've been doing for the past several years. Again, you can also, mostly graduate students participate in these projects as RAs, but you can also do an RA for these projects. And this is the list of URP projects that were advised by STP faculties and club. To see the diversity of student interest, you can pursue your own research interest in STP by working with STP faculty. So it's the student profile. As you can see, we get students from basically all the science and engineering disciplines. So we have a great diversity of students who are studying STP as it should be. So any students from any field at Kaist is welcome to join us as a minor student or a graduate student. Okay, now let me introduce our faculty here. This is their portraits. Here, I won't go through each of them, and I'll just introduce the faculty who are here with us today. But before doing that, on the top left, we just introduce Dr. Jung Keum-ho, who's just joined us as a distinguished visiting professor. So he's one of our new faculty members. You might probably know that Dr. Jung Keum-ho played a kind of crucial role in the founding of Kaist 40 years ago. He kind of worked with, he kind of participated in the term report and then did an active role in the creation of Kaist per se. So he has witnessed a lot of events in the history of science and technology policy in Korea. So you might be interested in courses with him and hear about his experiences. So we have many distinguished visiting professors at Kaist or from other institutions who come to us to teach classes or provide students. Also, we have the full-time faculty member who are devoted to STP work. But we also have faculty members who are affiliated with other departments at Kaist, but still work with us as affiliated faculty members. Okay, then let me introduce our faculty who are here with us today. Let's start with Professor Woon-jung Choi.
I'm Woon-jung Choi, and my research focuses on aging and older people. And my current project is collecting data from older people using wearable computers. So if you are really interested about aging-assisted technology and also older people, just like email me. And welcome to the minor program.
Hello, I'm So-young Kim, and my research is focused on R&D costs. Basically, my question is that if you have $1 million, how, of course, not your own money, but paid by taxpayers, so then how you're going to use it? Why we should claim that that $1 million need to be used for science and technology instead of really helping the poor or maybe correcting some problems of society? So that's my fundamental question. And also, I teach the mandatory course, which I'm going to introduce this shortly.
Hi, my name is Grant Fisher, and I do philosophy, and questions like, so you think you know science, are really sort of intrinsic to my kind of interests, because how much do we know about science if we don't think about it philosophically? And the kinds of questions that interest me about philosophy of science include the nature of scientific knowledge, and also how science relates to society, whether things like ethics should determine the course of scientific, or our judgments about whether scientific research is good. So if you're interested in those kinds of questions, then please come talk to me.
안녕하세요. My name is Zach Froelich. I am the new international scholar who is forcing us to speak English today. I do research on food regulation. In particular, I'm interested in food labels. The kinds of questions that particularly interest me are science and technology in everyday life. So even outside of food, I'm interested in this question. This fall, I'm teaching a graduate course on law and regulation. regulation, but I hope in the spring to teach possibly an undergraduate course on food and politics, looking at sort of structures that help create our modern food landscapes. So I hope we can see some of you in that course.
My name is Jiyoung Jo. I study technologies and machines as expressions of human culture or politics or society, and also the engineering. I study engineers as human beings living their life in society. So I teach 2 courses this semester. They will be interested later on by our students. Is that? I also study how and why technologies fail. Okay. While the computer is rebooting itself, the next up is our list of courses this semester, and we'll have several courses that are offered this semester. We'll have a short introduction for each of the classes. So if you haven't decided what to take yet, listen carefully, and then if you're interested in it, talk to your faculty professor or talk to your TA, and then. Do you have a USB with the presentation file? I think the file is gone. I think the file is deleted as the computer deleted itself. Okay, I have okay. While we are getting the presentation file ready, let's do our Q&A session first. If you have any questions, please raise your hand, and Mr. Kim will take your questions as a director. So, and after that, we'll go through their course list. 한국말로 질문하실 분은 한국말로 하셔도 되고, 힘들고 자유롭게 질문하시면 일단 Q&A 먼저 하고 그 다음에 수업 소개하겠습니다.
콜로키움은 아무나 가도 되는 거겠지? 콜로키움에는 아무나 참석할 수가 있는 건가요?
네, 아무나 참석할 수 있습니다. 콜로키움은 수강 신청하지 않아도 원래 모든 사람이 다 열려있는 자리고요. 네, 오셔서 흥미 있는 주제에 있을 때 와주십니다. The colloquial series is open to everyone, whether or not you registered for it. So it's a public event.
Promotion, I will be speaking next week. I would love for you to attend and ask questions. They get difficult for me.
So our first colloquium will be September 12th, 11th, Saturday, Thursday. So Professor Zach Froelich will be the first speaker, and the topic will be food labels. Food labels. Yeah. Food labels in the United States. So fascinating topic. Everyone is welcome to join. Questions? Yeah.
아까 그 인턴십 소개하는 슬라이드에서 7월이랑
예, 겨울에도 할 수 있고요. 근데 이제 아까 그 얘기한 것처럼 이제까지는 학생들이 이렇게 신청서 낸데를 어디를 하고 싶대 이렇게 썼었어요. 근데 이제부터는 몇몇 기관이랑 미리 사전에 얘기를 해서 예를 들면 스태프면 스태프 아니면 뭐 그 과학관이면 과학관에서 지정된 곳에서 하는 식으로 다른 학과랑 비슷하게. I guess mostly internship is interesting only for domestic students, but the point is we have a change from the previous policy. Previously students had to identify which institution they want to work as an intern for, but from this semester we're going to have a particular institution to work for. So and also you can do the internship for winter term.
Other questions?
그 STP에서 그 자연과학의 비중이랑 기술의 비중이 어느 정도 있습니까? 그 해야 될까? 자연과학에 대해서도 좀 더 관심을 주는지 아니면 기술적으로 치우쳐야 되는지 그런 느낌.
Well, I think that's a very excellent question because we have a non-SNE program on campus which is similar to ours. So we are titled the Science and Technology Policy, whereas the Technology Management Department, they also have this technology component. And I think as sort of part of Division of Labor, we are a little bit more focused on science, but we don't really exclude technology, of course. And Professor John is teaching all the courses related to why technology fails, why it isn't very satisfactory as we expect, right? So, but at least compared to the technology management, our focus is more on national government policy, more public aspects compared to technology management program that is more about how to really make profit out of technology and entrepreneurship, things like that.
Yeah.
So is there any opportunity for leaders to take internship as a postdoc?
If you are going to do the internship, of course, I can try. Right? I can try to find out some place where they might need an international student. Right? So it's not really a job possibility. I think there is some.
Other questions? Okay, then we'll introduce our fall semester courses. May I ask all the TAs to come up front and save time, and we'll go through them. Okay. This is a great chance to introduce our excellent TAs, all STP graduate students. So this is the timetable of our courses this fall semester. Can check it online. Then goes first.
Hi, my name is Hee-Sun Shin, and I am the TA of STP 110 Engineers Life, and it's basic elective. So I prepared 2 slides for this session. I listed the names of departments in Kaist, and there are many departments in Kaist, and you are my major one of them. And after graduating Kaist, you'll get engaged in the field of science and engineering. But one thing I would like to emphasize here today is that you need to remember that scientists and engineers have been and are related with many historical accidents worldwide, from the Challenger disaster of 1986 and to the Sewol ferry disaster just this year. So, in other words, living as an engineer, sometimes brings you a huge responsibility. In this course, The Engineer's Life, we look into the life of engineers, specifically who they are, and what values they look for, and what social roles they look for. The course will provide you with readings, which will provide you a glance of how engineers and scientists live, and will also provide an active discussion session. Thank you.
Okay, that was for the class, The Engineer's Life. And the next is,
Hi everyone, my name is Yoon Ki-jun, and I'm a of Humans, Machines and Society. We're living with machines and they're everywhere. So, and in my understanding, the viewpoint to machine is there are two kinds of viewpoint to machine, and the one is we may appreciate them because they are helpful in diverse ways, and the other way is we're kind of afraid of them. Just like maybe they can dominate us in the future, like Matrix. In case of you appreciate them, please take this course because showing your appreciation. And in case you afraid them, please take this course as well because if you know your enemy, you'll never lose. And I took this course 3 years ago, and from my understanding, these two questions could be key questions. And the one is, do they act just as they are supposed to? And the another one is, if not, what do they do and how do they do it? Also, if you're interested in these questions, I recommend you to join the class. And I cannot guarantee you'll find the answer. You may get more confused, but I believe there's value in seeking answers to these questions. This is not engineering course, of course. So what you're gonna do is not just solving problem in text. So what we're going to do is mostly reading, talking, and writing. And of course, to do these things, you have to think deeply. So if you're interested in machines, please join. Thank you.
thank you, Ki-jun. That was for Humans, Machines Society, and the next one is Silicon Valley Perspective.
Hi, my name is Tian Park. I'm actually the TA for the Engineer's Life, but the TA for this course is not available today. So instead I'm standing here for her. So the first question, what makes Silicon Valley a local place with global significance? The answer for this question is the goal of this course is to help you have an in-depth understanding of the Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is famous for its huge contribution to economic development and the successful stories of IT companies such as Google or Facebook. To figure out what makes Silicon Valley globally influential is one important theme of our class. And the second question is what social issues have been raised in relation to its development. And that question, however, that is not the only way to look at Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is a local place in California in the US, and every place has its own problems. Silicon Valley is not an exception, but what social issues have been raised in relation to its development? Asking this question makes you think about the social problem behind the successful stories of Silicon Valley. So for those who wanted to have a rich understanding of Silicon Valley, you're welcome to join us. Thank you.
That was for the Silicon Valley Perspective, which is taught by Professor Yoon Lee, who's not here today at the moment because she's actually flying to Silicon Valley today to prepare for the class. She's at Incheon Airport right now, or going to the airport. Okay? Next is...
I don't have a team available today. I'm presenting this mandatory course. Do we have enough scientists? Yes or no? If we have enough scientists, if you don't have enough scientists, as often the discourse on the shortage of scientists, of course, tries to believe us to be, then why we have so many postdocs after graduation, really having a hard time finding job. So I'm going to ask a lot of fundamental questions. Of course, we are using numbers to find out the entrance of potential answers to this question. So why programmers have to open a chicken franchise if we don't have enough scientists? And also, do we really need a Nobel Prize? Does Nobel Prize really contribute to advancing basic science? We obviously believe so, but is it really true that Nobel science has really been advancing the frontier of science? Because what we find in reality is usually Nobel Prize winners continue to receive lots of prizes after the Nobel Prize, which is a sort of waste of scarce resources, because prizes are also scarce resources. So prizes could be gone to some younger scientists that might be actually a better, more wise use of resources. So we are asking lots of interesting questions in this course, and I don't need to advertise much because it's a mandatory course. You're taking STP Minor.
Okay, Professor Kim was for Science and Technology Policy. And the last one.
Yeah, so hi, my name is Kim, and I'm the TA of the STP 215 Utopia and Dystopia course. I think I'll just have to speak up. So I want to ask you the question, where is science and technology headed to? So is it headed to our brightest and most perfect dreams, or is it headed to our darkest nightmares? So people mostly want to envision a future where everybody is free from disease, free from hunger, and living comfortable lives and altogether happy. But there's, in no way is this guaranteed with the possible directions in which technology is headed right now. As you can see in this image, this is from George Orwell's novel 1984. It's a depiction of how a totalitarian government using authoritarian technology can basically deprive society, deprive people of their individuality and of their liberties. And so in order to discuss these issues in this course, we ask a number of questions, including in what ways might science and technology be used for good or ill ends? How might science and technology affect our aspirations for free, just, and peaceful societies? And how do we construct utopias and dystopias? Where do these positive and negative visions come from? Other reasons why I'd like you to consider this course is, firstly, we often have a pretty small but dedicated group of students who take this course. And so you'll have all the opportunities to have a full discussion and always have your voice heard in every single class that you take. Also, we'll be looking into a lot of very interesting readings. For example, we'll be looking at Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, and it's an exploration of possible dystopias. And we'll also be looking at a number of movies, so hopefully you can enjoy that. And lastly, we don't have any midterms or final exams, so it's always a good choice. That's always a good thing, right? And so I hope I'll see some of you in class. Thank you.
Okay, that's all for we have for the fall semester. Let's thank our TAs who introduced their courses today. We have more STP graduates who work as TAs for these courses, so you're always welcome to talk to them when you have any questions or concerns about the class, in addition to your conversation with the faculty. Okay. The last course is taught by Matt Fisher. Okay. So that's almost all the information that we prepared today, but we can take more questions if you need to leave, you can leave for your next class. But if you have questions, please raise your hand. There's one announcement announcement from our office, STP office. If you're already in the STP Minor program and you are graduating soon, senior, then there will be a graduation requirement check. Make sure that you did all the requirements and they're ready to graduate. That will be Thursday, tomorrow at 4 p.m. At our administration office. If you are a senior graduating STP Minor, please come to that section. Do you have any other questions about STP Minor? Okay. If not, thank you again for attending this conference. We hope to see you in classes, but also in Tokyo, but as STP Minor students. Okay, thank you.